Welcome to another ICI instructional video. In this video, we are going to utilize our beef tornadoes that we did from the beef tenderloin earlier, and we're going to do a delicious steak au poivre, which is like a pepper steak, all right? The first thing that we want to do for this video is we want to take fresh peppercorns and we're going to crack it, all right? With a pan or a sizzling pan like we're doing. Some recipe actually calls also for pink peppercorns and red pepper and green peppercorns to make a different contrast in flavors. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put my beef tornadoes in here. I am going to season them with salt and pepper. I am going to put, as you can see in here, I'm putting a nice cross of the pepper and salt in here. Now, this might look like it is a lot of salt, but believe me, this is the perfect amount of sauce. What you want to do also, you want to kind of pressure that pepper in your steak, so your steak, when it sears, that pepper doesn't fall. Searing, what is searing? Well, when we sear a meat, what we want to do is a rapid coagulation of the proteins and a caramelization of the sugars that are inside this beef, all right? Now, something that we also want to be careful of is to control our heat. So once we achieve that nice caramelization, or what we call Maillard reaction, we don't overcook it. Once our pan starting to smoke, all right, we are going to add our butter, clarified butter. Remember, we use clarified butter because we want to, all right, have a higher smoking point. We're gonna be cooking this steak 2 minutes on each side. Why? Because it's only 4 to 6 ounces and we wanna serve it medium rare, all right? So what we're gonna do now, you can hear that beautiful sizzling sound. That means that we are at the correct temperature. If you don't hear that sizzling sound, it means that you're way too low, and instead of having a nice Maillard reaction, what we are risking is that our filet is gonna sweat or render all their juices, and we're gonna have a product that is gonna be dry at the end. And with this type of meat, we wanna make sure that we don't overcook it, all right? Something that we wanna see is make sure that we have a nice color, all right? And like I mentioned, we wanna cook it to a medium rare. What is medium rare temperature? It's around 135 to 140. Now, I'm gonna flip it and have this beautiful golden brown in here. Sometimes I like to shake it. Why? Because it will make sure that the meat doesn't stick to the pan. If you would encounter that the meat is kind of sticking to the pan, do not force it. Let that Maillard reaction, let the caramelization finish its process and it will release by itself. All right, if you force it, you can break the meat, all right? Now, something that you see in the bottom of the pan is kind of like a browning, all right? That is what we call a fond. That fond is full of flavor, and we want to extract it by deglazing it. And I'm going to show you how we're going to be deglazing it in a few minutes, all right? So, we are going to keep searing it another 2 more minutes on this side, and then we're gonna let it rest. Now, what is resting? Resting is when we leave, all right? Let the meat kind of settle, so when we cut it, all the juices don't render off. In addition to this, the internal temperature of the meat during the resting process is gonna increase anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees. So that is what we call also carryover cooking. So as you can see, we have a beautiful color in our steaks. We are still seeing that our steaks is a little raw in the middle. So what we're gonna do, we are going to put it on a roasting rack, all right? And we are going to finish them in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes. Now, our meat is finishing roasting in the oven. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna return the meat from the fire. All right? Now, because this is an induction burner, all right, we cannot flame it, but we're gonna take with a lighter, all right? And we're gonna flambe it until all the alcohol has evaporated. When is that gonna be? When the flames are extinguished, all right? We are going to deglaze this, all right? And we are gonna take in here very carefully and remove all that fun that we were talking about, all right? Now, once we have reduced it to an au sec, we are going to add our stock. And you can see how gelatinous that stock is, right? That is what we want, that really beautiful brown stock. We're gonna reduce this again by half. So we're gonna let it reduce in here for 2 minutes. I'm gonna scrape the edges so the liquid doesn't evaporate and stick to the walls of the pan. By reducing, we are also making sure that our flavors intensify, that all that collagen that is inside our stock helps give more body or nappe to our sauce, all right? Now that we have almost at halfway through reduce our brown stock, we are gonna add our cream. And we're gonna continue to reduce until we have a nice nappe. You can see that our sauce is getting reduced. I am going to now continue scraping the edges, continue scraping the bottom. We are going to reduce it for a minute more and take it out of the fire and monte over. When we're doing this, we want to make sure that the heat is completely off, because if we bring the butter with the liquid to a boil, the butter can separate and it's going to look like a broken sauce, and it's not going to be appealing to our clients. All right? So right now, our sauce, it is almost done. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to finish it monte over. I'm going to shut this off, but my meat is all ready to take out from the oven. I'm going to get a dry rack. All right? And I'm going to put it just in here. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to monte over. By this time, that meat is going to finish resting. And we're going to serve it. All right? So you can see how nice and monte over this is done. I'm just going to finish this with a little seasoning. All right? Not too much. I am going to strain my sauce with a fine chinoise. Look at that beautiful sauce. Now that is a perfect sauce, all right? Once I finish straining, I am going to finish my plating. This you can serve with mashed potatoes, with so many different things, but just for the purpose of this recipe, we're just gonna show you how will you plate it, all right? The two fillets in there, okay? I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit of the sauce on one corner. All right, and then drizzle the rest. Why I don't wanna throw all the sauce on top of this? Because I wanna show that beautiful caramelization. I wanna show that beautiful golden brown. All right? So, in a nutshell, this is a steak au poivre. Remember that we wanna add 2 to 3 ounces per portion of the sauce. And just drizzle it on top of the 1/3 of your meat.